Welcome back to NBA Insider. Before I begin, I would like to give a shout out to Hardwood Amino for sponsoring this video. Hardwood Amino is an app built and powered by diehard NBA fans. Hardwood's front page is a one-stop center for highlights with a built-in ad blocker, the latest trade rumors, interactive polls, and more. Other features include the entertaining public chats where you can discuss controversial topics like Porzingis versus Towns, find live game streams, and meet other NBA diehards. Don't miss the players catalog where you can read in-depth biographies for every single NBA player such as Damian Lillard and Andrew Wiggins. Another awesome feature on Hardwood are the weekly challenges. It's sort of like being a GM in the palm of your hand. Recent challenges have included rebuild the Brooklyn Nets in 5 trades or less and create your best fake Rudy Gay trade. So if you are a real NBA fan, Hardwood Amino is the app for you. It's available for both Android and Apple devices, and I will leave a link in the comment section below so you guys are able to download it yourselves. Oh, and just a little heads up guys, it's also where you will be able to talk with me about the NBA. So if you'd like to discuss a topic with me, feel free to follow me on the app after finishing this video and I'll be more than happy to talk with you. So without further ado, let's begin this video. Michael Jordan is one of the greatest basketball players ever. And sure, there is no problem with the opinion that Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, but as great as his game was, and as perfect as he would sometimes seem on the court, one thing is for certain, he was not the easiest person to get along with. Michael Jordan was known as a phenomenal athlete with unmatched skill and competitiveness by everyone, but not everyone knows about the incidents I will share today. Throughout his career, there have been many incidents illustrating just how far Jordan was willing to go to win. Michael Jordan missed shots, he lost games, he made mistakes. There's nothing wrong with any of the above. What is wrong is that people defy him and build him up to be some type of superhero who could do no wrong on or off the court. What we have to understand is some of these incidents actually make us appreciate him in more ways than we ever have before, because some of them actually help to solidify his position as one of the greats. For you real Jordan fans out there, I know you'll understand what I mean, but without further delay, let's take a look at why Michael Jordan is the biggest bully in NBA history. Welcome to NBA Insider. Michael Jordan is known to many as the greatest basketball player of all time. He could do it all on the floor: shoot, drive, dribble, defend, and he did it all so well. His airness was a winner and competitor and someone you didn't want to mess with. When guarding him, players had to defend against his physical game and even more difficult, against his ability to get in their head. Jordan was a trash-talking menace, a total bully. It was unfair for many NBA players at the time because after Jordan would break them down physically, he knew exactly what to do in order to mentally challenge players and make them reconsider ever returning to the court again. Michael Jordan would trash talk to anyone and everyone. It didn't matter if you were his opponent, the owner of the team, or even the president of the United States. No one was safe from MJ, not even his teammates. Take this one incident for example. Bill Cartwright, Jordan's teammate since his arrival to the Bulls in 1998, had a game in which he played pretty bad. On this night following the game, Michael Jordan decided it would be appropriate to punish Bill by exposing his poor performance in front of the rest of the team. What makes this odd is that Jordan had a personal hatred for Bill because the Bulls released one of the few teammates Jordan actually liked to bring him in from a rival team. Taking out frustration of management at a teammate is just plain cold. Eric Freeman, an editor for Yahoo Sports at the time, said, "When the Bulls let Charles Oakley go and brought in Bill Cartwright, Jordan resented the loss of his friend and took it out on Cartwright. Jordan would call him Medical Bill and intentionally throw impossible to handle passes at him in practice to draw attention to what he perceived to be his bad hands." Michael Jordan may not have wanted to admit it, but Cartwright actually contributed to Jordan's success in a big way. He helped the Bulls win 3 championship rings while defending the paint against elite centers on opposing teams. Oh, and as for the day Jordan exposed Bill's bad performance in front of the Bulls roster, Cartwright actually stood up for himself by pulling Jordan to the side and saying, "Look, if you ever do anything like that again, you will never play basketball again because I will break both of your legs." You probably never heard about that though, because after all, it is Michael Jordan. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, just because someone talks bad about another person doesn't necessarily mean that they are a bully. But here's the thing, Jordan had also been physical in many situations as well. And no, these were not cases of self-defense. Former Chicago Bulls power forward Horace Grant spoke on one of these incidents during an interview with Hot 97. He described a hidden story of Michael Jordan getting furious and physical with a reserve center named Will Perdue. When asked whether Michael Jordan only bullied little white boys, he said, "No, he beat up a big white boy. Will Perdue, I mean. I hate to tell the story, but Will and I are still good friends." Typical Phil, as in Phil Jackson, running this play, and Will set an illegal play on MJ. MJ said, "Will, don't do it again." "What are you talking about?" about? That's Will. MJ says, alright. Phil says, run it again. So naturally we ran it 2 more times. Illegal pick. MJ walks up to Will, boom, lit him up, it was over. We grabbed Will, you're not going to hurt MJ, MJ can take care of himself, but you know. So the next day on the plane, Will gets on the plane with a huge shiner. Basically, during a Chicago Bulls practice in the 1989-1990 season, Will Perdue was setting a screen. Jordan came by not expecting the 7-footer to be in the way. Jordan immediately slammed into Perdue and stopped, almost sliding down to the floor. Jordan stopped, looked hard at Perdue, and swung 2 times right to the side of Will's head. Perdue's knees wobbled, but luckily he remained standing. Why the hell don't you ever set a pick like that in a game? Jordan screamed. Everyone stopped, and since this was early in practice, no one was watching from outside. It was actually this incident that would force Phil Jackson to install a curtain during practices so that it could be more private. Steve Kerr was another Jordan victim in practice. During a scrimmage game, the 2 guards were matched up. It was intense considering the postseason defeat to the Magic in the conference semifinals was Jordan's first series loss since 1990, which led to people claiming Jordan's days of stardom were coming to an end. At 32 years old, Jordan was determined to prove them wrong, so the slightest sign of bother would tick Jordan off. Unfortunately for Kerr, he was that bother. During this practice, he and Kerr talked trash on a couple of possessions and then it escalated. Steve Kerr himself said, I took exception to something he said, so I was talking back and I don't think Michael appreciated that. And we got in the lane and he gave me a forearm shiver to the chest and I pushed him back. And the next thing you know, our teammates were pulling him off of me. Jordan had punched Kerr in the face, leaving him with a black eye. Unlike many other victims of Jordan's wild side, Kerr actually fought back by throwing a few punches himself. Crazy thing about it all was the fact that Kerr and Jordan had only been playing together for 2 months, which goes to show just how much patience Jordan really had. Now I don't want to get into too much detail, but if you would like to hear more about this, I suggest you check out Nick Smith's video on the incident. I will leave a link to his video in the description box below. Anyhow, these 2 incidents just go to show how much of a bully Jordan was. Now I don't want to make Jordan seem like a boxer who just fights for fun. However, incidents like this show how intent he was on winning, but also how his greatness on the court deterred his growth as a person. Now let's look at Jordan's damaging trash talk to opponents. During the first round game in the 1995 NBA playoffs, the Charlotte Hornets faced off against the Bulls and were down by 1. They needed to make 1 basket to avoid getting kicked out the playoffs. On the biggest possession of the game, Muggsy Bogues took the ball in his hands with Michael Jordan guarding him. Eventually, Jordan stepped back and gave Bogues the space to shoot the rock. Shoot it, you effing midget, MJ yelled. The 5'3" guard, shocked by the statement, hesitated and ended up shooting the ball, not even coming close. The Bulls won the game 85-84 and moved on to the semifinals to play the Orlando Magic. According to Johnny Batch, who was a coach on that 1995 Hornets team, Bogues told him that moment ruined his career. He was never the same, averaging just 5.9 points per game for the remainder of his career after 3 straight years of putting up double-digit points. So what makes Jordan, well, Jordan? If Jordan was this quiet dude without this extra edge, would we remember him as well as we do today? Would he have performed as well? Maybe, maybe not. But for Dikembe Mutombo, he definitely would remember Jordan for these reasons. That's probably because he witnessed firsthand the legend doing what he does best. Take a look at this picture right here. Notice anything? This is a picture of Michael Jordan hitting a free throw with his eyes closed. In a real game, yes. But what's even crazier is the events that led to the eyes closed free throw. On November 23rd, 1991, in a game against the Denver Nuggets, Michael Jordan had some fun with Dikembe Mutombo. As he was getting ready to shoot his free throw, Mutombo told him to shoot it with his eyes closed. Jordan yelled out, "Hey, Mutombo, this one's for you," as he made the free throw with his eyes closed. Afterwards, he simply smiled and told Mutombo, "Welcome to the NBA." Unbelievable. The list of Jordan stories goes on and on. What's most important to know about Jordan is the fact that trash talk and bullying was simply part of the game with him. He did what he could to get in his opponent's head and it worked for him. I did not create this video to bring hate to Jordan, but rather to appreciate what he brought to the NBA, which is creativity, skill, and fun. A lot of things we lack or could use more of in the modern NBA. I mean, what other NBA player would cheat in a game of cards against his own teammate's mother? Only MJ, because that's what he did back in his days in North Carolina. And it wasn't even for money, but just because he wanted to win at all costs. But that's for another day. The point of this video is to show you a side of Michael Jordan that is not often discussed. So sometimes I will put out a video that isn't in favor of Jordan, but that's just how I feel. Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player ever. For as good as Michael Jordan was, he is not perfect. And that's why I felt like showing how much of a bully he was on the court would allow you guys to better understand a side of his character that you may not have known much about. But once again, it's all love. Just before you guys leave, I want you to head over to the Hardwood Amino app where I made a poll for you to vote on which NBA player was bullied by Michael Jordan the worst. So if you thought the Mutombo incident was crazy, vote for that one. If you thought the Steve Kerr fight was even crazier, vote for that. At the end of the week, I'll be announcing which incident won on my Twitter. If you guys are able to reach 2,000 votes by the end of the week, I will be considering doing a face reveal video for those of you who would like to see what I actually look like. So make sure you guys go and vote for which incident you think was the worst out of the 5. And that concludes the video. As always, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If I made any mistakes or missed anything that you felt should have been included, let me know. Also, if you have any recommendations for future videos such as interesting stories or topics like this, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. As always, thanks for watching NBA Insider.